What's up, my good people? Welcome to my channel if you are here for the first time, and if not, then welcome back. So in my previous video, we were discussing one of the latest co-hosts on The View, Lindsay Granger. She was there for 2 days. In the previous video, we looked at the clip. I think that was from the second day, and now we're going to look at the clip from the first day she was there. This clip is a bit longer, so we're going to have more of a discussion around this. As usual, if you have not hit that subscribe button as yet, please go ahead on and do so. It will also help if you gave this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I upload a new video. All right, so let's get down into the next clip.
We talked about critical race theory before, and the New York Times op-ed claims the GOP has used the issue to their advantage with voters, along with parental choice and mask mandates in public schools. Now, the op-ed says Democrats need to update their platform, take the emphasis off education being the only key to success, and start pushing stronger labor unions, better tax codes. Yeah, all of that is great. Yeah, that's what we should be doing. But, you know, the reality is, as a child, a black child, I learned that there was a part of my history as an American child that was not there, that no one could give me answers that I needed. Now, for me, I want, if we're going to change things.
If you're looking for answers and no one can give them to you, you know there are places you can get answers, right? There are a ton of libraries all over the country. There is an internet. Well, I mean, I guess the internet wasn't around when you were a kid, but I'm sure there were a ton of libraries. And the same information that is available now were also available back then. So, whoopee, that's not an excuse.
I want people to talk about the trade schools that are out there, because not everybody is meant to go to college. There are lots of different ways we can do better for ourselves and our children. But I think if you're saying that we shouldn't be talking about it, you know, anytime somebody says you shouldn't be talking about this, I want to know why not. Why shouldn't people be aware there's something out there that may or may not relate to race and no, we shouldn't talk about it? I want to know what it is so I can decide for myself whether I want to talk about it.
But why is this article saying that the Republicans are the...
Okay, so I do agree with Whoopi when she said that college is not for everybody. College is not for me. I didn't go to college, but I turned out fine, I think. First of all, I think the whole college thing is a scam. It just leaves people in a lot of debt after college, most of which can't even get a job in the area that they study in college, because most of these degrees are useless anyways. If you're not going to college to be like a lawyer or a doctor or some kind of specialist, I really don't see the purpose of college. But that's just my opinion, though. That's just
educate. They're the ones who are stopping education. They're the ones that don't want you to learn this and this and that.
Nothing to do with it.
They're the non-educated. Then I wouldn't say anti, but non-education.
Well, they certainly don't care about education of young children as many things as we thought.
Yeah, I don't think the GOP or the other side don't want people to not learn things. I just think they just don't want kids to be taught certain things in school. It should be left up to the parents.
Maybe Democrats maintain the narrative on education, but that has completely changed. I think Republicans are now taking that over, with Democrats being more concerned about changing the names of school versus like getting kids back in school when we were in the pandemic. Like, what's more important? Keeping the parents involved in their kids' education?
Yep.
Or teaching
but wait a minute,
safe
wait a minute. What's more
and
important,
alive?
your health or your education? Well, just
I think they're equally as important. How can you get far without an education?
If you have to have
But
one,
the effects on kids were obvious when it came down to masks. They were wearing them down here, up here. You know, in all schools.
That's something you can't control.
Exactly. So kids should be back in school. I have friends that are guidance counselors.
So because of that,
teachers.
they shouldn't wear masks at all?
No, I think they should, but I'm saying Democrats largely kept them out of schools.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry. No, that's not true. What kept them out of school was Omicron.
The pandemic
and COVID. Right. That's what kept people out of school. That's what kept us from going to work. I'm sorry.
This was not a federal issue, right? It was left up to states to decide.
Yeah, and you saw what happened.
And we saw what happened. And so in the states where it was decided that kids would not go back to school, they were failing miserably. I have friends that are teachers in school districts where they're like, listen, my kids haven't been in school in months, in years. A lot of people haven't. But when the choice and the time was up, nobody went back to school. And so therefore...
I'm sorry, but if there's... I'm sorry, it is not over. It's not up. But I know that Nobody went.
She is right. I know a lot of people whose children were failing miserably because they, they were away from in-person schooling for so long. And I mean, they're sitting behind a computer for the 6 or 7 hours that they're supposed to be in school, but they're so distracted with everything else going on at home. And she is right. I even have relatives who are having the same issue because their kids were out of school for almost 2 years. They're falling behind, like falling way behind.
To work, nobody went to school, everybody was cranky, and that's what it was. But what kept people out of the buildings and out of their schools was this idea that there was something out
It was all a dumb idea
there that we hadn't dealt with before in our lifetime that was killing people.
And now Joe Biden is coming back with the idea at the State of the Union, touting what many Republicans were already saying. It's time to get back on Main Street. How is that your main message from State of the Union?
Has changed. The science has changed. We know more now. People are vaccinated.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. Now he's coming out touting the same thing that people on the right were saying. It's time to get back to school. It's time to get back to work. Because now the left is realizing that, look, maybe this was a bad idea, stopping people from going to work and school from the get-go. So now they're coming out and saying, oh, let's get back, and pretending as if it's all their idea when this idea was being thrown out there by people with common sense. I'm not even going to say by people on the right, but by people with common sense, because there's a lot of people on the left who didn't agree with this nonsense. How the hell does science change? Science yesterday is the same thing it is today. If science says blood is red yesterday, science is going to say blood is red today. I don't know. How the hell does science change?
Many children are vaccinated. And so I think that has changed. But to what we were talking about originally about Republicans sort of overtaking this narrative, which I think you're right about that, right? Now, all of a sudden, the Republican platform is about parental rights and child education. Yeah. But I think what's kind of fascinating in that is what Joy mentioned, 17.7 million children, 17.7 million public school students have had their learning restricted by local and state policies. Yeah. And so I think Democrats do need to change.
No, you do. Okay.
The narrative, actually,
but
and talk more about the fact that CRT does not exist in our lower schools, only exists in public school, law school. And I also think that Democrats need to lean into the fact that while I agree with you, Whoopi, not everybody can go to college. Not everybody.
No.
It's not for everyone.
No, it's not.
But the fact is that learning a trade or getting an education is the great equalizer in this country.
Well, that's the point.
It was the great equalizer for me.
That's the point.
And that's why.
Let me just say this. I think they paid Sunny. Her sole job on the show is to bring up race at every chance she gets. Because that's all she does in every single episode of The View. And trust me, I watch The View every day. And I watch it so I watch shows from on different networks so I can make an informed decision for myself. I don't just watch shows from one side of the political aisle and don't watch from the other. I watch from everywhere so I can make an informed decision for myself. And in every episode of The View, Sunny has to bring up the topic of race and racism and how black people is oppressed and white people are the devil. Oh, and it's white people's fault and the black vote and the black people this and we're so oppressed while I live in my mansion and I'm a millionaire and my husband is a doctor and my kids goes to all white school and I live in an all white neighborhood. Shut up, lady, shut up.
Historically, white people didn't want black people to go to education because we wouldn't have Katani, Brown Jackson there
that what white people didn't want was us in the trade schools. And when we started to go to the trade schools, started charging people.
I was going to say something, never mind.
What people were worth, they said, well, wait a minute. Everybody should not be going to trade schools.
And
we should be doing something else.
As a whole, kids look at textbooks and we learn that Columbus did this and we learn about all the incorrect things. And so we need to start about an overhaul of the textbooks. And why is critical race theory the first conversation?
That is absolutely true. And the fact that critical race theory is not what anybody was talking about, or the idea of not being able to read certain books, or the idea, I want parents to have to know what's going on. But parents always had the right to go and find out.
They have the right to go and find out what's going on in their school. It doesn't mean that the school is going to stop teaching what they're teaching. The parents can always go there and say, hey, what's inside the curriculum. It doesn't mean that the parents can tell the school what to put inside the curriculum. So this is why some of these laws are important.
What was going on in their
You know what I would like?
Always.
I would love it if certain people in Congress knew the difference between gazpacho and Gestapo.
Yes, but they don't, because Trump said it out loud.
He loves the poorly educated.
Trump said he loves the poorly educated, he loves the uneducated, and I think the Republican Party has taken that
Well, it's a losing campaign to tell parents to stay out of their kids' education.
But
no one has ever told.
Whoopi, what are you talking about? They're arresting parents at school board meetings right now. They're arresting them and calling them terrorists because they don't want their kids to learn certain things. What is this lady talking about? Where has she been?
Parents not to be interested in their kids' education. Parents decided now they are interested and they want to know what's going on. But people have been doing this. My mother went to my school to find out what was going on. Our parents were
I'm always
involved.
at the school.
Oh, yeah, she
Always
lives at the school.
school.
She has a room there.
Okay, so I've had enough of this clip. These women are amazing. These women never cease to amaze me. Their ignorance and their level of stupidity it's just mind-boggling. And then whenever someone comes along with an ounce of common sense, all four of them just gang up on that person. They fuel the audience to start clapping and screaming to their nonsense and their BS. I mean, I agree with some of what they're saying about the trade school and all that, because college is not for everybody. So I went to a trade school and I've got some pretty good jobs, some of which were paying me the same amount of money to people who spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and got a college degree. So I'm not mad about that. But mostly these women are just flat out ignorant. All right, so this was my video for today, and go on ahead, leave a comment, and let's keep this chat going. See you in the next video.